I made a conscious effort today that this session of Coffee Samso is going to keep going until I'm finished talking because your projects are unique in a sense, and I get what you're saying because I think we think the same. Is that they're all such great potentials. It's just you're limited by time and money.
You can't do everything.
You can't do everything, as we all know, right? Which is probably a good time for us to go to Glandore because Glandore, is again, you've come up and said, look, I've got this footprint, right?
Yep.
And my question to you is, how are you going to deal with this footprint? Because it is a footprint. Footprint is very green, grass, early stage, right?
But there's two parts to Glandore, right? So very high level, I say to people that Glandore could be as good, if not better, than Gidji. Gidji is a better location, and we've talked about that, Bra and Shear and stuff. But Glandore's actually got better historic results, okay? But it's a bit more logistically challenging because it's on the salt lake. Yep. So, you can't just go out. Yeah, you just can't go out there and drill like you can at Gidji. Yeah. It's not that far from Kalgoorlie. It's only 40 k's from Kalgoorlie. Yeah. But all the interesting stuff's on the salt lake, so you need this special rig to get out there. Yeah. So there's two parts to Glandore. There was a lot of air core drilling on the lake, which looked interesting. There was a little bit on the land just south of the lake. There's some old Western mining holes that looked interesting. But then out to the east, there's a thing called Glandore East, and it's on the edge of this granite. It's the same sort of granite that you see at Majestic to the south. And there's some diamond drilling that Harmony did back in 2005 on the edge of the lake. And they were very wide spaced diamond holes. The thing is, on the salt lake, especially back then, you're limited to what drilling you can do. You normally do air core drilling or RAB drilling, and then you go straight to diamond drilling. Because in the old days, you couldn't really take an RC rig out on the lake because they're too heavy with the boosters and compressors and all that. So you basically go with your air core and then you go to diamond drilling. So they did some diamond holes on the edge of this granite, and they got hits like 4 metres at 40 grams, only 80 metres below the surface. And then they go 200 metres north and drill and get a few metres at 8 or whatever. But then that was it. And then that project went through all these different companies, and then Anglo Gold Ashanti got hold of it, and they went out, this is 2018, and they went and drilled a couple of holes and went, it's too small for us. And that's it, right? So it hasn't been followed up. Those diamond holes are wide spaced. Now you can do RC drilling on the lake as well if you can get hold of a rig. Glandore, I've said to people, Glandore East is more like Andy Well. The size and scale and grade of that is more like Andy Well, and the fact that a big company has just walked away from walk-up drill target is like Andy Well. So, as I said, there's two parts to the project. There's this granite, and there was all this air core drilling around the eastern side of the granite and where the diamond holes were, and there was a bit of drilling around the western side. So before we rushed out with the diamond rig, we thought, we'll like continue around that western edge of this granite and up to the north and see if we can see the same sort of stuff. And so we did that, and we did that whenever it was December last year or something, and we've got this really big air core footprint on the lake. It's about 5 kilometres long, which compare that to Marylebone, that's like the whole size of Marylebone, right? But the other thing that was interesting, when we started drilling sort of one of the southern lines across the granite itself, people don't like the granites for gold. But we drilled across the bottom of the granite, and we got all this sulphides, fresh sulphides in the hole. So we had a few metres up our sleeve. So at the end of the program, we went round and up to the north, and we were working our way back down. I said, well, let's just extend a couple of the lines right across the middle of the granite. And when we did that, we got sulphides and we got some reasonable hits in the granite itself. And so then you go, okay, so we've got these hits, high-grade hits on the land down here. We've got these high-grade diamond hits up here. We've got this granite in the middle. And you can actually see stuff going through the granite. When you look at Majestic, where Black Cat are developing, and Trojan and Imperial, they are all hosted in these granites with these northeast trending structures through them. Okay. And that's what we think we've got at Glandore. But to date, all we've done is we've done the first pass air core, and we've got these diamond hits up here that we haven't tested yet. It's very frustrating for me. I want to be out at Glandore tomorrow, but as everyone knows, that getting rigs and getting assay turnaround in WA is crazy at the moment. we're restricted because there's only a limited number of drilling companies that drill on a lake, and there's a limited, even more limited number of diamond rigs that drill on the lake. So we're in the queue for a diamond rig, waiting, and we just have to be ready to go when that rig's available. And then we've got half a dozen holes planned up at Glandore East to follow up those high grade hits. You know, we had planned to drill that a few months ago, but just haven't been able to get the rig. So we just have to be patient there. It hasn't gone away. The project hasn't gone away. The gold hasn't gone away. We just can't physically get out there and drill it yet. But I'm quite excited about that target. I think it's got potential for some high grade, narrow high grade mineralisation, again of a similar sort of size and scale to what we saw at Andy Well. So, and given its location, we're only about 6 kilometres from where Black Cat are building their mill at Majestic. There's an obvious way to monetise it if we do find that. So,
what do you think you get out of that diamond hole? Obviously, that's you're waiting for that. You mentioned that. So, what do you think, or what do you think you want to get, or what can you get out of that diamond hole?
Well, if we do half a dozen holes and we put them in the right place, and the mineralisation links up between holes, you could quite quickly have an inferred resource.
Okay.
Because you actually got bedrock hits. That's different to Gidji, right? If you got a couple of hits that line up between a couple of diamond holes, and you can show that it's the same vein and dip and strike and everything, you can quite quickly put an inferred resource around that. So, and like I said, if you were lucky, you could have something, a couple 100,000 ounces very quickly there with a reasonable grade. And again, if it links up and looks good, then you've got a processing plant nearby as well that would easily take it. So it's really frustrating that I feel like that project's really underdone at the moment, just because we haven't been able to get the rig that we need. So we'll be, as soon as we got it, we'll be out there. We as I said, I think Glandore is good, if not more exciting than Gidji in some ways, because it's got that mineralisation that you can follow up quite quickly.
Mate, we just spent 45 minutes talking Gidji up, and you've just said that it's better.
Well, I think Gidji's got more opportunities, but the one opportunity at Glandore East is probably more advanced and more.
I get what you're saying. Look, Gidji's got its Gidji. It's got its thing.
Yeah.
And Glandore's got its thing. So and I think they're the same, and they're mutually exclusive.
Yeah.